Greetings, everyone. I am so excited. I am so excited. I am so excited about your presence with us here on today. And I am so excited because this is the second episode of our phenomenal series entitled Pouring from a Full Cup. This is our moment. This is our opportunity where we have real talk about clergy wellness. That's right. I am Dr. Danie Bahuro, Executive Director of Sankofa CPE. And I'm so excited that you have taken time from your busy schedule to join us today. Won't you do me a favor? On the bottom of your screen, you see a share button. I want to ask that you please share this video because we believe in Ubuntu. We believe that healing, hope, and wholeness is not just an individual crusade, but it is, in fact, something for the entire community. And this episode, I'm telling you, is a special episode. Our Pouring from a Full Cup series is our space to name the realities of ministry and to reclaim wellness as sacred. Each month, we're going to build towards our 2026 Sankofa CPE Clergy and Chaplains Mental Wellness Conference happening in Chicago, April 21st through the 24th, 2026. Today, our conversation is entitled, drum roll, please, The Hidden Weight, Burnout, Boundaries, and Balance in Ministry. That's right. The hidden weight, burnout, boundaries, and balance in ministry. Ministry is deeply meaningful, but it's also heavy. I know people can agree. Many of us in this ministry, sometimes we carry things that we really shouldn't. We say yes when we really need to say no. And we struggle to find balance in this particular call that we love. And so today we're going to talk about how to practice self care as clergy, and in particular, how we can avoid or resist clergy burnout. I am so humbled and honored because today we're going to welcome our special guest, the Reverend Lucien Washington. This is my big brother. He is both a clinician and a chaplain. He brings together professional mental health expertise and lived ministry experience. He works with clergy and communities to address burnout, create healthier boundaries, and promote holistic care for those serving on the front lines of faith. We are so excited to have with us today the Reverend Lucien Washington.
Oh my God, Dr. D, such a beautiful introduction. I appreciate you so much. I just wanted to say that. Um, Reverend Lucien does not just give his brand or sow his
Mhm.
time to anyone. I've had several people, organizations ask me to be a part of what they are doing. And it's not that I don't want to be a part of wholeness and wellness because that's what I do, but I watch why people do what they do.
Mhm.
And I'm honored to be asked to be here with you, Dr. D. Like I said, many have asked, and I said graciously no, because I'm very careful who I sow my brand to and my time to. And with you, Dr. D, because I've watched you and seen you put in the work, you have earned everything that's entitled to you. I'm glad to be part with you, Cara Solutions, Pastor Sue. And I said yes because I knew you all would handle me well and keep me in sacredness. So
Thank
thank
you.
you.
I'm humbled and I'm honored. Thank you for your yes. I am certainly humbled and honored. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And for today, you have to promise you cannot make me cry this morning. So I'm gonna stay focused.
I'm not
No, thank
gonna
you,
hold to that. I'm
thank you,
not I'm not gonna hold to that.
thank you, thank you. Let's jump right into our conversation this morning about the hidden weight, burnout, boundaries, and balance in ministry. From your perspective as both a clinician and a chaplain, what are some of the unique pressures you believe clergy face that weigh heavy on our mental and emotional health?
Hmm. Clergy often hold the sacred tension of carrying both their own burdens and the burdens of their communities. Research shows that pastors have a higher rate of depression and anxiety than the general population.
Mhm.
These pressures come from being expected to always be available, always be strong, always leading without showing vulnerability, holding, look, they hold funerals one day and weddings the next day,
Mhm.
which creates whiplash, emotional whiplash. I wanted to throw that out there, emotional whiplash, to bring yourself into such emotional places and just be asked to step out of sadness into celebration. You know what? You can't pour from an empty vessel. I know many of us know that 23rd division of Psalms, where it's telling, where David is asking, fill my cup, fill my cup, Lord. But I don't think we listen to the other part of that. fill my cup into it runneth over.
Mm.
And we don't look at that part. We want to give out everything that's in our cup, and then we don't have nothing that's running over. It's the running over that belongs to the community. It's the running over that belongs to the congregate members. It's the running over that belongs to those you are serving. And so I don't know if we ever we're not expected to get into the the overflowing part of that.
Wow, wow, that is so powerful. Thank you for naming that. Two prolific points that I heard you name is for us to first and foremost think about the emotional whiplash present in ministry. Wow, that's sitting with me. That is sitting with me. I have a pen here and my notebook, and I'm jotting down notes as you speak. I have oftentimes thought about ministry opportunities as those are good things. That's something positive to have several ministry opportunities to perform funeral services or perform a wedding. Seems like wonderful opportunities to journey with people along. But you are teaching me this morning that we have to take serious the emotional whiplash of having these various ministry opportunities from moment A to B to C to D. If we don't take a pause, this could be very traumatizing. I also appreciate you lifting up. We are not to pour from the inside of our cup, but the overflow.
The overflow.
That is powerful. So many of us don't do that. We pour from what's inside of our cup. Thank you. Thank you. So I also hear you teaching us and reminding us to reflect on what does it mean to not give from the inside of our cup, but to give from our overflow. That is so powerful.
And
Why? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
that brings up the question. So where do we work at obtaining our overflow?
Mm,
If we're serving everyone else and we're giving to everyone else, when do we stop, like you said, to pause and think about how do I get my overflow
mm,
to which I
mm.
should give from? Not my cup, my overflow.
Wow, that's powerful. That's powerful. You're all in my business now. You 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 coming down my street now. You are all in my business. Yes, that's so important for us to reflect on then as the next part. So then how do we feel our overflows? That is powerful. Wow. Thank you. I'm sitting with that this morning. Thank you. Hmm. Why do you think burnout among us as clergy is so overlooked and minimized?
Look, burnout is often hidden behind a smile. Um, they see the sermons, but they don't see the sleepless nights.
Mm,
They see the prayer, but they don't see the exhaustion. The culture of the church expects leader to be tireless and just give all their all. And when clergies are struggling, they may silence themselves out of fear. Look, I'm not going to admit that I'm tired. I'm not going to admit because this is the culture. Look, I come from a tradition, and I know not everybody's tradition is like, you keep on going. You never let them see you sweat. I was raised in a tradition where ministers, leaders, we are to be the strong ones. We are to be the answer to all. We are not to show that. And so many times the congregate members and those who we are serving don't get to see those areas of our life. They don't get to see the secret parts of our lives or the hidden parts of our lives. So silence in ministry is often mistaken by strength.
mm,
Or they
mm,
strong because they keep on going. Although I just lost my loved one, although I just, I'm going through, I'm trying to tend to my parents who are aging. I'm trying to take care of them and my household, my partner, my loved one. and I'm trying to juggle all of these things. I'm stretching myself. That goes back to your first question, Dr. D. We've been taught to stretch ourselves. God is stretching you, right? Have you heard
Mhm.
that before?
Yes, yes.
What happens when you're stretched so thin you can't hold the weight?
Wow. Wow. Wow.
What happens? What
Wow.
happens when you're stretched so thin you can't hold the weight of ministry, the weight of family, especially in this day and time? In our political arenas, our churches where pastors are being asked to straddle the fence to say, you know, that causes emotional distress. Like, why can't I lead my members? Why can't I tell no one? And we're being told to close your mouth and don't say no. We're being censored. And so where you think you're leading people, you're really going around in a circle. We're being stretched. And I'll leave you with that. Strength in silence is not always true strength. Silence is not true strength. And so, you need to have a support system. I mean, even if it's one, you don't need a whole lot. Those that will hold you accountable, those that will keep you, when I thank God for my love, Reverend Dr. Charles. He does that for me. He does that for me. Just like I said, I was facing last week what I call racism fatigue, or they used to call it RBF, racism battle fatigue. And that's just dealing with a lot of social justice and feeling the weight of that and so on. And I said I was extremely tired and extremely exhausted. And I said I need to take some self-care. And I made a statement. I said, well, social justice is part of my self-care. And my love said, no, you won't. My love said, you won't do another thing next week. You won't say another word next week. Because he's seen the mandate, he's seen the detriment that if I didn't cause myself to go into rest, because we don't know how to stop. We're so conditioned to going and going and going that we don't know how to stop. And it's good to have people that will hold you accountable. So yeah, silence is not always strength.
Wow. I so appreciate you naming that. Silence is not always strength. That is awesome. Yes, 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 yes. My little journal here is filling up because you're dropping so many jewels and nuggets. I appreciate you saying that first and foremost, we have to also think about who is our community of support. You're speaking about listening to your partner who invited you to practice self care. And so, one learning that you are inviting us to reflect on is, do we have a community of accountability around us that is saying, hey, you need to pause, hey, you need to take a break, hey, you need to rest. But something that was also pivotal for me and what you said is, you listened to Dr. Charles. You listened to Dr. Charles when he said, hey, honey, you need to take a pause. And I also think that that's so important, right? When our communities of accountability, our support systems, our partners, our spouses challenge us to take a break, are we listening to them, or will we ignore their voices and keep going? And so I also appreciated you highlighting that. What's some other strategies that we as clergy can practice, especially in light of experiencing racism and sexism and homophobia, transphobia, ableism? What are in the midst of all the societal ills or social justice ills that exist? How can we practice self-care in addition to community of support?
Well, some small practices to build resilience, because I like to say that We need to reclaim that word too, resilience. I know their community like to say we are resilient, and some of us have now, we want to shy away from that word. But I encourage you to to reclaim that word.
Mm.
That's something our community holds. It's sacred. And so some of the small practices, taking intentional Sabbath time, intentional Sabbath time, deep breathing exercises. A lot of times we think of self-care. I watched, and I was on for your last program with Reverend Tanya, my beloved sister. And the subject came up about self-care. Sometimes we think self-care and our community has self-care. Well, let me go get my hair done. Let me go get my nails done. Let me go to the bowling alley, whatever it is that you take. And I'm not saying those things don't help, but to do you don't need a whole week's vacation. You don't need to be gone for 3 and 4 hours to get filled back up. You can do little things that can restore you. Look, you could take 5 minutes and it could give you what a whole week's vacation. Sometimes I go on vacation and need a vacation after the vacation. And so I'm just putting that in perspective. And so some of the little things, sometimes just sitting for 5 minutes with yourself and taking some deep breaths, disconnecting from all this trauma and racism and hatred that is going on in our day. We need to disconnect, but not disassociate. I want to be clear with that.
Disconnect, but not disassociate.
Yeah, they're two different words, and I think we interconnect them. We get them confused. We can disconnect without disassociating. And so, like, going to therapy, I would say that going to therapy, grounding oneself in body practice like walking and singing, those things could be, I mean, even if you ain't a singer, I'm not necessarily a singer, but I'll sing, baby. I'll sing into my joy, into my soul is happy. I'll draw back on them old hymns and old gospel songs that my parents, my grandmother and them taught me. And let me tell you, I'll sing them until I get happy. And sometimes the best thing that a leader could do is rest.
Mm.
Rest itself is resistance.
Mm.
Rest itself is holy. Rest is prophetic, especially for us particular folks, where we're expected to hold up the weight. We're expected to never get tired. These things transcended slavery. Look, a woman was put in the fields pregnant, 8 months pregnant in a hot beaming sun, and expected to carry and keep loads of cotton. And I like to say this now that I'm touching that. My bishop, Yvette Flunder, always says, if you didn't want us here, you should have picked your own cotton.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you're expected to be strong. Our women are expected to be strong, and we're expected to work from sun up to sundown and never get rest, real rest. And I'm not talking about that rest you go take a nap. I'm talking about rest that replenishes your soul, your mind, and your body. Healing comes through rest. Our bodies, our cells, they replenish when we rest. And so let me leave you with that. Rest is prophetic.
Rest is prophetic. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Can I be honest with you? Is this a safe, vulnerable space?
You are always safe.
Is this a transparent space?
It's a transparent space.
You are a therapist. You have a background in clinical mental health. I'm psychology and professional mental health counselor. And I'm sitting with this notion that as clergy, I believe sometimes this conversation around self care is really a psychological conversation because, in some sense, and I'll make an I statement, in some sense, I can't rest if I have a mother wound or a father wound, a little childhood voice from my mother or father that says, oh, you got to be the best of the best. Oh, you got to work hard. Or if I have a mother wound or a father wound that shows up as I'm working so hard to prove myself to other people because I want the affirmation, I need the empowerment. Hey, how then do you talk to me about self care as a clergy person if I'm working so hard and overextending myself and violating boundaries because deep down inside, I still got a little Danie, a little baby girl inside of me
Mhm.
yearning for my mother's affirmation, yearning for my father to simply say, I'm proud of you. So now I overextend myself in ministry. Side note, there are some studies that say most people go into ministry because they are attracted to the stage or pulpit of ministry because they can be seen and acknowledged and affirmed by so many. End note, how do you help me practice self-care if I'm wrestling with these mother wounds or these father wounds of needing to be addicted to affirmation?
Okay, so what I hear you saying is, how do I practice self-care when I'm taught to perform, when I must perform, and whether that is for population or for that little girl, like you said, inside of you. And the one thing I've learned from my daughter, Corinthia, well, me and Dr. Charles' daughter, our beloved Corinthia, she's a theater actress, actor, a performance arts major. And so um, what I've learned that she goes into her characters and you embody this character for so long. And then there's a time of coming out of that character,
Mhm.
and that you must come and step from out of that character, in the act of performing. Since ministry is rooted in love and service, uh, the, or, the lines between healthy care and overextension can blur. They
Mhm.
can become blurry. And I understand, I get what you're saying. But I would say that you have to step out of the performance. Uh, and maybe sometimes you need to perform and speak to that little girl, speak to that little boy. I know what you're saying because there was a time that I had to reach back and speak to little Lucien and tell little Lucien, no, I got this. Mommy don't need to come get this. Daddy don't need to come get this no more. I'm I'm mature now. I got this. Let me run this ship. Let me guide this ship because I understand you're guiding this ship from the place where your mind is at. And I want to guide this ship from where our mind is at now. And we have to learn how to guide our ships from where our mind is at now. And that also includes our congregation and those around us. You can't guide my ship. I can't allow you to guide my ship, especially if I'm not inviting you to guide my ship. Look, let me give you this. Let me bring you back to sacred text. Peter steps up on Jesus, right? And Jesus is telling the disciples, look, this is what I got to do. I'm about to go through a whole lot. with these people. I'm about to go. I'm about to sacrifice my life. I'm about to lay down my life. And this is what I got to do as the leader, as the Messiah. And he's talking to the disciples. And Peter cuts Jesus off and says, wait a minute, Lord. No. You can't do this. You can't give up your life. No, that's not what God. And Jesus turns around and says, Satan, get thee behind me. And now what we do is over spiritualize this, or we make it religious. And so we look at Jesus turning around, saying, no, I got to do this. And we see that part, but we're not seeing what Jesus is really saying. Jesus is saying, hold up. Let me start. Let me set a boundary. Let me put the line in the sand, Peter. I love you. I just finished telling you you are beloved. But let me put this in a mental and emotional state. This is my boundary. I have not invited you here. I have not given you say so over this area of my life. And that's what happens to us as leaders. We give people, sometimes we give that little child, we give that little one that was hurt. I'm going to say that again. You said this is a safe place. Let me tell you, little Lucien was hurt. Little Lucien was molested. Little Lucien went through hell. I can't allow you. I didn't invite you to run the ship. I have to stop inviting you to run the ship. Our congregate members, we have to set boundaries. The people in our lives, and whether that's the loved one, your partner, whoever, we have to set boundaries. And I want to go back to something we talked about. You said you listen to Dr. Charles, right? Me listening to Dr. Charles also shows my trust in Dr. Charles.
Wow.
So this is a little bit of relationship therapy for some of you that are out there listening as well. The whole man. How about that? The whole man. Me listening, giving him, making myself accountable to him. It took trust to get there. And I gave him that place in my life. And then that's what we're not paying attention to. We're not paying attention to the places we give people. We haven't even given people permission, or we haven't invited them to the table. Whether that's yourself, that little Dr. D. You know, there's areas we need to talk to our younger self and listen to what they're saying. But then there's areas where we say, no. I got this now. I'm controlling this ship. I don't know if that's helping in any kind of way, but yeah. Boundaries, you know, a lot of times boundaries, when we set boundaries, people feel like they're being betrayed. This is what Peter felt. Wait a minute, Jesus, I was trying to help you. I was trying to say, no, I don't want you to die. I'll go away. But you're stepping into my thoughts. You're stepping into I'm trying to prepare myself for a journey. You're stepping into a place I didn't ask you. And I'm sure that Peter felt betrayed. And so I leave you with that. You know, boundaries aren't betraying love. Boundaries, they are preserving it.
Wow. Boundaries aren't betraying love. Boundaries are preserving it. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Why are boundaries so hard for us as clergy to maintain? What is it? What is it about boundaries where we see a boundary and we unconsciously go to break it? How do we break boundaries psychologically, physically, emotionally, mentally, socially? And why? Why do we have such high rates of breaking boundaries?
Well, you kind of
And
answered
did you?
that, Dr. Danie.
And before you answer, did you say the purpose of our life is to control or guide our ship or control our shit? Did you said ship. You said ship. You said ship. Okay.
Well, it could be
Got it.
shit too. It could be shit too. Control your shit. How about that?
Oh, that's it. That's it. That's it. You
I
didn't
love
say it.
you.
I
I
said
love
it.
you.
I love
No,
you.
I said it.
You
I'm gonna
didn't say
change
it.
it
I
from
said
shit
it.
to shit. I'd like it shit better. Control your shit. How about that? We can leave
Come
it
on.
at control your
All
shit.
right. All right. All right. That's what I heard. That's what I heard. Hey family, we want to say thank you so much for joining us. There's so many people, Reverend Lucien, who are checking in online, giving you amazing kudos and thanking you so much for the wonderful wisdom and insight that you're sharing. Thank you so much, Dr. Charles Watterson. Thank you so much, Pastor and Chaplain Bianca Richardson. Thank you so much, Pastor and Chaplain Marissa Pender Mom. We are so excited. Thank you so much, Bishop Bonnie Rayton, for being here. And thank you so much, my beloved Keisha Williams, for checking in and being here. Thank you so much, Jalan Tasby, Pastor, Reverend Chaplain, for being here on today. Please share this video. Share, share, share. Let's jump into boundaries, my brother. Why is it so hard for us to maintain boundaries?
Let me finish. So many of them people you called, I know. I love you all. Thank you for joining in. I just wanted to say that too. I know so many of you that are on, and thank you for watching today and joining in today. Um, that's a good question, but I wanted to go back because I heard you. You absolutely gave the answer yourself in part of your question from the last question. And like you said, you went back to that little girl, that little space, or that little person in your life. That's what many of us don't do. We don't reflect. We don't go back. We don't take intentional times of reflection. We don't sit with ourselves. And I know that could be hard for some because when we look at ourselves, sometimes we don't like what we see. Sometimes we don't, you know, many of us who are clergy, many of us who are doing this thing, if we be honest, when we look and have time to sit with ourselves, we don't like some of the things that we see. That's hard to do. But be intentional about these moments of reflection, going back, like you said, to them areas. Why is it so hard for us to keep boundaries? Who did you learn from? Who did you sit up? Who was your pastor? Who was your
Ah,
leader? Who did you sit? Who was your parents? Who taught you? And how did they keep boundaries? How did they show up in your life? If we don't go back to these places of our lives, if we don't have intentional moments of reflection and really go visit them places, some of them places are hard. I named some things already that I went through in my life when I was young. Some of them places are hard. How do you tell this young man that was molested at 5 years old, where an adult took control and touch and overstep their boundaries and touch places they should not have been touching? And my mind was still being developed, and my mind was still being shaped. How do I then fashion boundaries when I'm not quite sure what boundaries look like?
hmm.
I had to reteach myself. I had to reteach myself a whole lot of stuff. And that came with doing intentional reflection and going back to them hard areas and going back to them places that are triggering and emotional for me, that we don't like to tend to. Jesus ain't gonna fix everything, baby. Just because I went and shouted for a few hours ain't gonna get rid of some of the stuff that's inside of me. Just because I throw my hands up on Sunday don't mean my burden and my back and all the things that's going on in me is gone on Monday. We have to be intentional about checking these areas. We have to be intentional about reflecting and going back. That's what I meant. You gave the answer. Going back to some areas where we learned boundaries. Who did we learn them from? Who did we read it in a book what boundary is, but we never embodied it?
Ooh, 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 ooh.
I'm saying that. Because many of
Yes.
us, especially
Yes.
theologians and so on, we read stuff, but do we embody it? Do we
Mm,
take it in? Do we make it real to us? Do we give it? The word says, the letter killeth, but the spirit bringeth forth life.
mm,
The letter killeth, but the
mm,
spirit bringeth forth life. We can read all day. We can read the Bible from the beginning to the end, and we can still look. We're watching it happen today. People are taking the Bible, using it. It happened for centuries, actually, and using it for how they want to. I'm just using the Bible as something. They do it in the Quran, Muslims, they do it in every faith. I wanted to put that out there. So it's not just Christians. It's not just us, but I wanted, spirituality is very different from religion. I wanted to put that out there. And so the letter killeth. I can read all day. I can research all day. I'm a clinical therapist. It's research. That's our thing. And I could read it all day, but until it becomes real to me, until it has life, until breath comes into, spirit comes into it, it's not going to mean nothing to me. And so, like I said, we can read it all day, but if we don't embody it. And so, who did I learn boundaries from? Who taught me this? Did I get it from a book? Am I not embodying this, what this means to boundaries? Boundaries are not only set to keep people out, boundaries are set, to keep you safe. But the Bible says a man, a human, a woman without walls is like without boundaries, without walls. It's like a city without walls. A man or a woman without self-control is like a city without walls. That means anything could get in and anything can go out. It is, look at who taught you your boundaries. Let me leave it at that. And are you
that's
embodying it?
Thank you. That is such a powerful, reflective question for us. Who taught you your boundaries? That's right. Because first and foremost, we learn about boundaries based on the examples around us. Thank you for that. What did our moms teach us about boundaries? What did our fathers teach us about boundaries? What did our grandparents teach us about boundaries? Our mothers in ministry, our fathers in ministry, clergy persons as colleagues in ministry taught us examples for boundaries. And first and foremost, we have to sit with that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You also said something else that I'm reflecting on. Uh, let's do a check again. Is this still a safe space and place? Is this still a transparent, brave space and place? If it is, then I also need to appreciate another point you highlighted, that boundaries and self-care keep us safe. Boundaries, practicing healthy boundaries and practicing self-care keep us safe. I also heard you earlier highlight that boundaries and self-care is not necessarily financial. Meaning we don't just practice self-care based on going to the beauty salon or the barber shop or going to get our nails done or going to get massage. Those are nice. But I heard you also say, can we sit with ourselves? Can we sit with ourselves? That's hard. Can I sit with myself and be still? When is the last time I sat home at home and just sat still? That is a very, very powerful question for us. And I appreciate you naming I appreciate you naming that. Let's go a bit deeper here in this conversation. How do we approach maintaining boundaries and practicing self-care, especially when it looks like uh, our work life and our personal life has all these demands that seem to collide with each other?
Well, let's go back to the last question. Sometimes you got to set boundaries with yourself.
Mm.
We always talk about setting boundaries with people. You got to set boundaries with yourself. You have to schedule. You have to stick to your schedules. It's imperative to schedule, and I'm gonna say this. I have a great therapist. My therapist is a Black woman, by the way. Her name is Dr. LaShawn. I love Dr. LaShawn. And I don't love Dr. LaShawn because Dr. LaShawn is easy with me. I love Dr. LaShawn because she knows she got to be kind of hard sometimes with me because I could be stubborn. And it's something I struggled with that. I struggled with keeping my schedule and sewing myself thin sometimes and like trying to be everywhere and be everything for all people at all times. I'm not Jesus. I'm not a savior. I try to save my little home and my family and those I love and my church congregate members and those who are around. And I try to do that the best way I can, and I'm all right with that. I learned to be all right with that. But I struggle with keeping schedules. I struggle with setting boundaries with myself and not stepping outside of that. This is what I said. And many times I found myself stepping outside of my own boundary I set for myself. And Dr. LaShawn, I brought up Dr. LaShawn because she said something that stuck with me. She said, put yourself in your own plans.
Wow.
Many times, clergy, many times we make plans.
Wow.
We do all these things. We want to appease people. We want to appease our congregate members. We want to appease the people around them, our family members. And we make plans. And I thought about that. I said, because she asked me, when do you put your own self in your own plans? She said, put yourself in your own plans. So from that time forward, everything I did, whether it was to do prayer, whether it was to go to church, whether it was to set an appointment, speak at something, whatever, like I put myself in that plan. How is this going to affect your well-being? How is this going to be beneficial for you? Is this going to fill your cup or is it going to deplete your cup? And I put myself in my own plans. And I set that bound. And so it taught me to respect my boundaries. It taught me to respect my schedule. It taught me that even though I may want to do it, it might not be the right thing to do at this time. And that might not be good for my well-being at this time. I intentionally started putting myself in my plans. There's times when I mentioned Reverend Dr. Charles because we live together. And there's stuff that we do a lot of stuff. And there's sometimes when, he asks, well, we need to do this, but that, and I've learned to say, no, I can't do that. Because I give him that accountability. He'll tell me, no, you won't do that. Because I've put myself in my plans. I mean, down to the littlest things. We are persons in the environment. That's what you learn when you go and become the clinician. And we learn that people are part of their environment. They are people inside of their environment. And so I have no choice but to bring up my environment. And so if it's down to cooking a meal, I remember that I used to make meals and cook. Something simple as cooking a meal. And my first thought would be, I want to make this meal great for Reverend Dr. Charles. I want to make this meal so good for him, and I want to cook it for him. And I didn't necessarily put myself in that equation. And so I started saying, well, I want to make this meal, but will I like it? Will it be good for me too? And so on. So then I started making meals that's good for both of us, that both of us can eat and both of us can enjoy. Because I learned that even in making that meal, it was really to appease Dr. Charles. It wasn't to make me happy. It was to make him happy. And so our first step is put your own happiness first. Put your own self first. And that might seem a little selfish, but that's hard for many of us, especially many people of color, to do, is to put their self first. put their self in their plans. So I'm gonna leave that out there. Put yourself in your own plans. Start doing that, and maybe you will learn how to set boundaries better. Might not be perfect, but better.
Thank you so much, Reverend Lucien. Listen, this is the voice of God in the background. Dr. Danie has lost sound. We can hear Dr. Danie, but she cannot hear us. And so we are going to make sure that she has time to get her sound right. But I want to invite the audience, those of you who are watching, to kind of engage with Reverend Lucien a little bit. Post your questions in the chat. What is something that you want to know? What is something that Reverend Lucien can help you with? And Reverend Lucien, if you have something specific that you would love to say to the audience, I want to give you room to do that now.
Okay, great. I see so many on here that's saying, they're getting it. What I'm happy is that you're getting it, that I wanted to say this. Not many times we sit and we come on these arenas and we do these things, and so much is going on and so much is being said that we kind of miss the bulk of it. And I think all of what was said is pertaining to your self-care. And I hope and I pray that you all, if it's not everything, that you've picked up something that you can hold on today. It's important to me to give this to my community. It's important that I say to you to look at the little places that you have grown. Look where you are starting the work. Look where you are beginning the work. Some of you said, well, I never went to a therapist. I never went to a chaperone, an emotional mental chaperone. I'm gonna call it that way. Or I never did that. And sometimes we beat ourselves up because we say, well, I haven't really invested much in myself. I haven't really done the work. I haven't done this, but I want to encourage you all today to say that if you tuned in today, if you have picked up one thing that was said today, pat yourself on the back for beginning the work. I want you to recognize that you have begun the work, that you are doing what you need to do to get to a better place of life. Life won't always be perfect, but it's them small steps, and it's acknowledging them small things that we do. If you are not the same person you was last year, if you are not the same person you was 5 years ago, turn around and give yourself credit for that. We find it hard many times to not give ourselves credit. Why? Because we sit in a world that conditions us and tells us we are no good, we're not enough. You're a DEI hire. I'm gonna put that out there. All of these things, and we don't take the time to say, look, but where have I grown from? Where am I growing to? That's two different things. Where have I grown from, and where am I growing to? So I wanted to encourage each and every one of you that have joined in today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank Dr.
Thank
Danie
you.
got the sound back.
I apologize for my sound earlier. I so appreciate the wonderful wisdom and insight that you have shared in this space. Oh my goodness, this has been so rich. I've still been taking notes in my notebook, and so I'm just so excited, and I'm so humbled and honored by your presence here with us today. Hey family, we want to say thank you so much for being here with us on today. If you don't mind, share this video. We want to recognize our illustrious Bishop, Vanessa Brown. So good to see you, Bishop. Thank you for being here. Also, we want to say thank you so much to Reverend Tanya Jackson for being here on our show. I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you so much to Reverend Sue Webley. I want to formally and publicly say thank you. Reverend Sue Webley has been wonderful in marketing, arts, design, technology for Sankofa CPE. And I'm so deeply, deeply grateful for Reverend Sue's presence with, with us. I want to also take a moment to invite you to our Sankofa CPE conference. It is April 21st to the 24th. It's our first conference. That's right. You attend a lot of conferences, and oftentimes in our Black community, they're primarily based around preaching. But how many conferences have you attended that focused on clergy and chaplain mental wellness? So we want to invite you to attend our conference. Registration is now open. Visit us at blackchaplainsrock.com. blackchaplainsrock.com. I'm telling you, this is a moment you will not want to miss. We want to also ask that you continue to follow us on social media. Follow our Facebook page, Sankofa CPE Center. Follow our Instagram page at Sankofa CPE. And we want to also invite you to please, please, please. I heard Reverend Lucien say it is so important for us to have a therapist. If you don't have your own professional mental health therapist and you are a clergy person, we want to encourage you to do that. Feel free to reach out to me or Reverend Lucien. We have some resources for you. Reverend Lucien is going to have the last word for us on today. And let me let you know, now is a good time to grab pen and paper, because he is going to say something again that's even more prolific than what he's been sharing in this last hour. You don't want to miss it. Now is time to go grab pen and paper. And again, my brother, I'm just so humbled and honored by your presence and all of the amazing golden nuggets that you dropped this morning. Now, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to give you credit the first time I cite you. And then the second time and the third time and the fourth time, it's going to be my property.
Oh, let me tell you, Dr. Dan, I already gave you charge to that. I already said
I'm celebrate our brother, and please don't commit digital plagiarism. All of the golden jewels and nuggets that he dropped today, please cite him. All right, family, please cite him. Reverend Lucien, you have the final words, and then let people know how to reach you if they want to get in contact with you or follow you on social media.
Okay, well, first I want to say, Dr. Danie, you have every right to use my intellectual property, because as I said in the beginning, there's only a few that I would say yes to, and that's you, Cara Solutions, Pastor Sue, because I know you handle it. I wanted to also give thanks for my bishop, Vanessa M. Brown, who is with us on, and my sister, my sibling, Reverend Tanya. Thank you to these people, because I give them also that, like, I ain't going to join with just anybody. And my mom knows that. I call Bishop Mom. So I thank God for her presence today on here. You can reach me on Facebook. Most of these people that's on here are my friends already at Facebook, Lucien Washington. And we can talk. We could get a minute to talk or whatever. If you need to reach me or speak to me, message me. And I wanted to close out with this. In the beginning, you said I could be myself. I could bring my whole self to the table. And I want to leave the people with this. If I could get 2 minutes just to pray for the people. How about that? Can I do what I do? Can I bring that part? They allow me to do that in my practice. I am able. I learned for years how to bring the spirituality into my practice. And I believe in the power of prayer. And I don't think prayer just changes things. I think prayer creates things. And I think we can create things with our prayer. And so I would, if you would allow me to close out in that way. I had a beautiful, beautiful prayer, nice written, well-written one. So for the people, but I don't want to do it that way. I want to bring my whole self to the table, and I want to pray like I know to pray. And if I can do that, and if I could give you something else, just pick up your phone. Hold your phone in your hand. Hold your phone in your hand. I'm going to go a little old school. If you're at a TV watching this broadcast, go touch the TV. I want a point of contact. I want you to have a point of contact in this prayer, because I believe in the power and the sacredness of our divine spirit, our mother God, our father God. I believe that God can do some things in your life if you really believe that God can do it. Help my unbelief today, oh God. I'm praying down right now, God. I'm moving in the spirit, God. I see my brothers and my sisters on here, God. Tanya and Dr. Charles and Dr. Danie and Pastor Sue and all of those who have joined in, God, today to this broadcast, God. I don't want them to leave the same, oh God. I want them to open up their insight, God. I want them to open up their inner ear, God, and their third eye, oh God, that you would reach down deep, oh God, and that you would pour into them, God, so that they could have something to overflow, oh God. Teach them how to find their overflow today, oh God. I'm asking that, God, you already bind the hand of the enemy and bind those things that keep them bound and stuck and hindered, God, and keep them from reaching their dreams and their goals, oh God. Keep them from getting to places of mental health and emotional health, oh God. Oh God, that you would lead them down a journey, oh God, and let them find that right clinician, that right therapist, God, that right chaperone, God, that right spiritualist, God, whoever it is, God, that would lead them and give them, could speak into their heart, oh God. God, I break up stony ground, God. I break up them areas, oh God, that we said, I'm not going to learn nothing, and can't nobody tell me nothing, and can't nobody say nothing to me. Oh God, I ask that your blood be against this today, God, and that you would move on this line today, God. Do something great for somebody. Do something great and powerful for somebody today, God. Break every stronghold and every shackle, God. Right now, God, I ask that you pour out on Mother Brown, God, in that hospital room, God, and that you would touch her from the crown of her head, God. The devil is a liar. Oh, we back up every weapon, every warfare that was been set up against us. We back up racism, and God, and homophobia, God, and all those phobias, oh God, that would set us into places, God, that we can't seem to get out of, God. Despair. Somebody, God, today said, I don't know where to turn, oh God. And the spirit of suicide came to visit them, God. That's all right, God. That it visits, God. Oh, but God, let them find that place. Let them find that line. Let this be a line today, God. I throw out the lifeline today, God. Dr. Danie throws out the lifeline today. Jesus throws out the lifeline today. The Oshun throws out the lifeline today. The Orishas throw out the lifeline today, God. And God, let them find the numbers. God, they put numbers up. They put, I told them where to reach me, God. I told them how to call on me, God. And so, God, if there's any desire, if there's any distress, if people have been triggered, God, let that triggering bring to us a brave place. Not safe places, God. Raise up brave places where we could be ourselves and bring our whole self to the table. And so, God, I ask a special blessing upon Dr. Danie. I ask a special blessing upon the conference. I ask a special blessing upon Pastor Sue, Cara Solutions. I ask a special blessing upon all these that join today, God. Now cover them. Keep them, God, until we meet again. In the precious name of Yeshua HaMashiach, we give you thanks. And we say amen, ashe, and amen. God bless you all.
Now, didn't I tell you not to make us cry this morning?
I
asked you, I begged you, I pleaded with you not to make me cry this morning. I begged you. Oh, thank you. I am humbled and honored more than you know. Please hear me. I am humbled and honored more than you know. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Woo. I don't even know what to say after that. No, thank you. Thank you.
Let it fill your cup. Let it fill your cup. Thank you.
Family, we want to invite you to join us in October for our next session. October is Clergy Appreciation Month. We're going to talk about when the shepherd needs shepherding, mental health care for clergy. And so we are so excited about this. I don't know how the next guest is going to be able to come behind today with Reverend Lucien. Reverend Lucien said it out. No, thank you. Oh, wow. I am full in these moments. I am full in these moments. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us, family. Have a beautiful day. Wow.